This was a name that was out there. Clearly, Kentucky wanted somebody with ties to the program. Kentucky men's basketball has officially named Mark Pope as its new coach, the school announced. Definitely wasn't anyone's top choice, but he played for them, won a championship with them, and I'm sure they're hoping there's something to be said for that. I'm assuming AD Mitch Barnhart had done his due diligence for this to come together as quickly as it did. I felt this was rushed, the whole process following the Drew Scott decision. Obviously, Pope's pre-existing relationship between him and the fan base, him and the administration, played a role. Him and just the basketball community at Kentucky. Of course, you had to work your way down the list. You go from initial thoughts that it would be this big list that included Nate Oates, Jay Wright, Billy Donovan, and others. Well, they rebuffed interest before the search got underway. So then you had to go to plan B. It then became clear that Drew Scott, I always get his name mixed up, and Dan Hurley were potentially being targeted to replace Calipari. Apparently, Scott Drew and his family are comfortable in Waco and had no intention of leaving Baylor, so that's out. As we know, Billy Donovan left college for a reason to coach in the NBA. I'm all in with Mark Pope. I mean, it's not a bad hire, but knowing Kentucky and how it operates, I felt it would be a big name that would create headlines and ignite the fan base. At least you can say Pope played and graduated from there, so he knows the program. He knows the program's history and tradition. He is part of a championship banner in the Raptors. And I think he will be able to recruit better players with Kentucky's resources than he's had since becoming a head coach. You will have guys that want to be at Kentucky and play for the name on the front of the jersey. Not just stopping by for 8 months because they can't go to the NBA yet, and not just because they were sold on the perks that playing at a place like Kentucky will get for you. The prevailing theory is simple. Mark Pope is universally a bad hire. You have fans voicing dissatisfaction because he's never won anything. But Rick Pitino endorses Mark Pope. The program is convinced it would usher in the start of a new era. You hear that Kentucky, that the Kentucky head coaching job is the best in the country because of its history and mystique. It's also the most demanding and challenging job in the country, and you're held to a higher standard, obviously. It's not a job for everyone. It was unlikely the Kentucky job was attractive to a lot of big names, and so the only choice was Pope, who is now entrusted with maintaining the program's integrity and winning tradition. Reportedly, 2 donors have already pledged a combined $400 million for name, image, and likeness, NIL funds, to help build Pope's program. I think Pope will earn the trust of the fan base. He may not have much on his resume to show for it, but he's a Kentucky guy through and through. If he's successful, he'll stay for the long haul.